We're gonna get this stream. We're gonna do it. We're gonna fucking do it. There's no stopping us. If I get stopped now, not gonna happen. We got a track laid down anyway, so let's leave this one be, and we'll start on the wine. Actually, you know what? I might try and get something more chilled on just to get us, because maybe it's this non-chill stuff that's killing the stream. So let's start a new track and see what happens. Infuriating. This one, we're good so far. Let's see if we can keep this one going. Here we are. Looks like this one might stay. Looks like this one might stay. Whew, that was a bit annoying, but thanks for everyone who's come followed the 3 streams so far that have lasted several seconds. We're doing all right. How's everyone in chat? We are through the heat wave. It was a fucking mellow 22 degrees today. Yeah, don't jinx it. Let's crack open some wine. Thank you. I do like this shirt. This used to be my brother's shirt, but it was ripped, and I stole it and fixed it and claimed it as my own. So today, Altair is finally at the part of my masters where I can actually have to write the Yeah, that's a big part. Hope it's going well. Well, the stream won't kill me, will it? Not if I kill the stream, then I'm going to attack and dethrone God in terms of the stream. Yeah, good luck with your dissertation. Hope it goes well. I understand the pain of being in the write-up period. I'm in that very same period right now. I was writing a chapter up for the thesis today, and the chapter has reached a fucking mellow 19,000 words at this point, and is not nearly done. So it's going to have to get significantly cut and or become 2 chapters. So we'll see how that goes. The wine today. The wine today was on deal. I don't think I've had this one before. I might have done. I've probably had all of the Sainsbury's ones so far. It's called McGuigan. It's called McGuigan Reserve Chardonnay. From Australia. McGuigan. Very Australian name. And it was on deal, down from £8 to £6.50. 13%, pretty good. Strict word limit for the PhD. A PhD, you have some leeway, but it's between 75 and 100,000 words. I think I did a count today. I think I'm currently at 58,000, and I still have to complete the current chapter, then 2 more body chapters to write, and a conclusion. So I'm gonna get. I don't think I'll go hugely over, but we'll see. Good to have you briefly in for the stream that hopefully lasts. Let's see if this wine is okay. It's not the best. It's not the best, guys. Gonna be honest with you, this one might be a stinker. We've had a good run with wine on this channel. I think this one might be a bit of a stinker. Uh-oh. I mean, it's not the worst wine I've tasted, but it's a little bit of a stinker. I forgot the grapes. I left the shop. I left the shop after my swim. I was like, oh, I'm all sorted. I've got my timings right. Left the shop. I forgot grapes, and I was like, fuck. I can't be bothered walking back. So no, I don't have grapes. I've not tried putting grapes in this wine, but I have tried putting grapes in some wine, frozen grapes, to keep it cool without diluting it. Hello, Scenarios Evan. How are we doing? I think this is the first stream I've done since putting out both the video on Adam Ruins Everything, the G Word, and the interview with Adam Conover, because I was away for a wedding, for a couple, I went up to Scotland. It just sort of fell on progressive Thursdays that I was away, and was putting up the content on the Thursdays. So it's been a while since I've actually done a stream. And I don't think I've done one since the last videos came out. So that's nice. I hope we can chat about that a little bit if folks are interested. God, yeah, this wine is already going straight for the heartburn. I can see why it was on deal, because this is not good wine. We've got ourselves a stinker. Oh dear. Make sangria? I can't be bothered. Maybe on the weekend. Mix it with plain soda water to make it a spritzer. I don't have plain soda water. Do I have plain soda water? I might have some tonic in the fridge, but I don't want to waste all the tonic when we could have some gins and tonics. I mean, there's lots of good wine about. The reason why I often get bad wine is because where I live, there's only one shop, and I live in fucking London, and there's only one shop about the place, and the wine selection is not marvellous. I could plan ahead and go to a better shop, but I don't do that, because I'm not good at that. Yeah. England is known for its vineyards, yeah. I mean, it's not far from France. We can import our wine. Isn't this? I feel like there is some good. Isn't there? There's. I feel like I might have heard this from someone who spoke at me about wine at some point. That England, southwest England, does have some good vineyards. I have heard that England has microclimates. That's right. So I guess there's some decent, but this is Australian, so there's no fucking excuse. Buckfast Abbey. I mean, oh, we should do a stream on Buckfast at some point. We should do that. The problem is it's expensive and isn't, it's not the best. Plus, you'd have to see me on stream with big red wine teeth, which is not the nicest. That's why I used white wine. I almost got a rosé today. I was almost like, will I be cheeky? Will I be cheeky and get a wee rosé? What's Buckfast? Buckfast is a tonic wine, fortified wine. So that's wine with caffeine in it, kind of like port, but worse. And it has like a big sort of cultural thing in Scotland where folks drink it because it's filled with caffeine, so it keeps you up. And it's got a kind of annoying. There's an annoying sort of other side of it where a bunch of people are starting to ride the arse out of it and be like, oh, we're just doing like a lot like Glasgow Uni sort of posh folk being like, oh, we're just doing a Buckfast, we're so mad. That's my fucking posh voice. And it's and that's kind of annoying. But I genuinely quite like the taste of Buckfast. I think it's quite nice. So, yeah, if you're sensitive to caffeine. Yeah. Did Adam watch either of the videos? I don't know. I've not messaged him. I feel like, he does follow me on Twitter now, so he must know it's out. He's not messaged me. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. He's a busy guy, I'm sure. I feel like he would have a lot to say about the video. Nothing that would be particularly surprising, because basically the content and the structure of the video was kind of put out through the interview. That I discussed the main points of it with him. It was a nice conversation. I was so incredibly nervous. And he seems like a lovely guy. And I think that's what he wanted to impress upon me, that he isn't a bad person. And that was never a thing I ever thought. It wasn't really relevant to the conversation. Swell guy. I didn't want to. So the way that I did go into the conversation, I was like having to think about how to do it, because obviously I wouldn't want it to get into some sort of debate thing, and neither of us did. And that was one of the things that he, in his original messages to me, was saying that he didn't want it to end up in a debate, and that's fair. I'm very, very sympathetic to that, as everyone, of course, knows. So I was thinking like how to go about doing it, because it could become quite combative. Like challenging people's perspectives can become combative. So instead of doing that, I thought the best way to do it would be to do it like a research interview, which I'm used to doing since it's what I've been doing for the past like year or so. And in that sense, it allowed him to talk more about his own perspective, which was revealing to me and very useful for the video and sort of illuminating his ideas. The reason I have that disclaimer at the start is because it could have people looking at it and be like, oh, this is someone who's letting him talk and letting him explain himself could be construed as me sitting back and taking his opinion as a given, since that's the sort of milieu that internet debate happens. So it was like, I need to be clear that this is a research interview where the important thing to come out of it from my end was finding his perspective, finding out what he thinks about these things, and not necessarily trying to catch him out. And I think he kind of thought similar when he asked me about various things from the other side. At this point, I only debate with my fellow Jews. I have a whole queer Jewish anarchist collective of lovely folk to debate with. That's because debate is a literal tradition for us. Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. I think debate or arguing with people you know and in your own family is a very different thing to internet debate, and that's something that people get confused with in that video that I made, where people are like, oh, the video I made on debate, and people are like, oh, any disagreement, so you don't think people should disagree with people ever? And it's like, well, no, that's not the same thing as the specific format of debate and then internet debate, which are specific things that I'm criticising. Some people find that a difficult distinction to grasp, which I always find odd. One of the things that really stood out to me was how it seemed you two found yourselves talking past one another, especially around definitions of some very words like the state or propaganda. Yeah, I found that as well. So there's a couple moments in the interview where if I wanted to push harder to try and argue a point, I could have pushed harder. But we would have ended up going round in circles, because I felt at the time that we were talking at cross purposes about certain things, and those things being propaganda, the nature of what propaganda is, things like the state as well, like you pointed out there, like these are different, like we just had completely different conceptions of what those things meant. And another one being like things like progressive prosecutors and the role of electoralism within a broader social movement. We were just sort of at cross purposes, talking completely different perspectives, and arguing on that point would I think have been counterproductive to both of us. It was useful enough to sort of prod and find out. I mean, it was interesting to see that he stands by the idea like government is fundamentally a human institution and all that stuff. That's a really interesting stuff to push on and like to have him talk about that stuff. But beyond sort of prodding his view to find out more about his view, there wasn't all that much purpose in sort of arguing further than that. Everyone is doing well, Martin. Oh, but well, I'm not going to speak for everyone. I'm doing well. The wine's not great, but we're coping with that. Oh, I'm bad, like... Yeah, talking off the cuff is never easy. Are we talking the Adam Conover? We are talking about the Adam Conover interview, yeah. I mean, yeah, this is the first stream I've done since both the interview and the video went live, so we're just having a wee chat about that. Yeah, I mean, I think Hazel, I think you're right, and it's to some extent. I mean, and it is incredibly frustrating talking to liberals. Sometimes because some of them want to do better, but they just have no conception and ability to grasp what you're saying, and that sort of thing is just something that you can't really overcome in a single conversation. It's just a long process of political education and just talking shit through with people. Sometimes it's that people are deliberately, I mean, a lot of their like feelings of anti-communism and liberalism runs so deep, and trying to approach that from a left-wing perspective is really difficult. A lot of the comments on the Adam Conover, like the comments on the specific video, not in the interview but in the video, have been among the most frustrating comments I've ever received. Like the stuff on the fucking left-wing white supremacy video, Vosh character, Vosh folk coming after me. Nothing, doesn't matter to me. They have nothing on me. Trying to do personal insults, no impact. People replying to me en masse, the terms of the thing that I'm criticising, and then replying it back to me as if it's a point. Oh, that annoys me so bad. It's like, so many people wrote these paragraphs just like explaining like, oh, Adam Conover thinks the state, it's good to humanise the state, and we should identify with the state, and maybe we can push people slightly further left, and like all these things which are like the things that I am criticising, and just saying it back to me. It's not a point, and it's been so incredibly frustrating. It's been one of the most frustrating comment sections I've ever had, and people doing it in a very sanctimonious way. It's like, yeah, to talk down to me, and talk down to me wrongly is quite annoying. It's quite annoying. I've found myself looking at my phone and just being like, you fucking, this nonsense. You're confidently replying to me with absolute nonsense. Yeah. That was frustrating comment section. Talking past each other over words like propaganda reminds me a lot of, oh god, this line's bad. Reminds me a lot of the discourse over whether shows like Brooklyn Nine-Nine count as propaganda. Yes. So I was talking about specifically this the other day because I think the swell guy stuff works really well for Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and it was just something I was thinking about the other day, where Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a show like the swell guy effect. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a show which is built around the swell guy effect. It's basically being like, here's a bunch of police officers, they're all so swell, they do the swell things, and in doing the swell things they criticise the institution of the police, but in doing so they obviously reinforce the terms that there are good people who can reform the police and do good stuff in the police, and and policing as a structure isn't ever really criticised. It appears to be criticised while the terms of it are reinforced, and I think that's how Brooklyn Nine-Nine works as propaganda. And I think it's interesting that the swell guy stuff sort of carries over into other areas of propaganda. I'm probably going to start noticing it more and more. I might start coining swell guys as another catchphrase, like different things are different, and then running that into the ground to see what happens. Hey Alice, how are you doing? Thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a weird show. It was a weird, bad show. Um, yeah. John, I literally know the feeling. I'm an historian and quite a good one, and people trying to explain history to me, wrong history, as some 5-year-old pisses me off no end. Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. It's just, it's so bad. Uh, yeah, I mean, the annoying thing is, one of the annoying things about Brooklyn Nine-Nine is that I enjoy it as a show, and and that's what makes it insidious, because it is like, and it's the same with fucking Parks and Rec. Like, the characters are fun, and it's funny, and it's entertaining, and it's mind slop, but it's fucking insidious, which is bad. It's bad. It's a bad thing to exist, even if I kind of enjoy it. Um, yeah, Parks and Rec. Before Brooklyn Nine-Nine, oh, that's the cat trying to get in. Before Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I would say maybe after Brooklyn Nine-Nine as well, Parks and Rec is maybe like the best quality show with the worst politics that I've ever seen. Because the politics are just fucking outrageously bad. Hello to Canada. Um, hey, I'm glad to be here. Anton, you'll get in at some point. Fuck me, this is such bad wine. Right, let's try another track. Yeah, it is bad how many of the turn your brain off background shows are centered around policing. I mean, so much of our media is around policing. It's not. It's very bad. Um, uh, Bob's Burgers is good. I like Bob's Burgers. I mean, aside from bits and pieces, it's liberal. It's liberal in its sort of outlook, but it's definitely one of the better shows politically. I really like Bob's Burgers. I really enjoyed the Bob's Burgers movie. I like how the Bob's Burgers movie went into being a musical. Big fan of Bob's Burgers. Right, let's get a track going. There we go. That was nice. Started less funky, and then, as with almost everything that I ever fucking do on this stream, ended up funky. I'm not red-headed. I'm not ginger. Don't come here and accuse me of being ginger. I'm pale and I'm skinny. Oh, whoa, Jesus fucking Christ. Thank you, Matt Volner, for that incredible super chat. You get a cheers for a super chat. Fucking hell, to good wine, because cheers with the bad wine. Oh, it's really bad. Thank you so much, Matt. Matt Volmer. That's incredible. Jewish and have a ginger wig. Hard to watch the bad wine. I mean, it's gonna keep going. I'm not gonna pour myself a better drink because I commit. I'm not a quitter. I'm a committer, not a quitter. I'll make it less obvious that it's terrible as we go on. Like half the reason why you know, it's always fun to take pleasure in someone else's suffering. So I mean, I'm not gonna begrudge it. Anyone who does that. If the stream doesn't kill me, the wine might. They can fucking try. Switch to gin. I was thinking about that. But if I stop drinking the wine, then it just means I've got this bad wine sitting in my fridge. I'm afraid I don't get the joke, Dr. Anarchy. I'm sorry. Yeah, I might switch to gin later on. We'll see how it goes. What is a White Claw? Is that like a white wine spritzer? I'm never really sure what it is. Use the white wine for cooking. That is an option. I do like a bit of white wine. I made a really nice cream of mushroom sauce with some white wine, which has some white wine in it the other week. It was really good. It's like this mushroom sort of, mushroom like, pasta sauce thing. It was really nice. Could use it for that. It was quite white winey when I made it. Yeah, so I'm not a fan of vodka. I'm not a big fan of vodka. I mean, vodka is one of those things that's like, isn't it like the better quality vodka is supposed to not taste bad, but I've never had good quality vodka, so I just associate it with bad taste. American vodka and seltzer water. Oh, wow. I did not know that, Dr. Annika. That is... I think I prefer that. I think I prefer the idea of communism being a frightful little hobgoblin. I kind of like that a lot. That would be a fun YouTube channel name. Frightful little hobgoblin. That would have been a good YouTube channel name if I'd been smarter when I was naming my channel. Glenn's vodka is the worst vodka you've ever drank. Altair Seal, you are living in a world of privilege. I've done shots of fucking Lidl's own brand or like Morrison's own brand vodka. It's like paint stripper. Tell Jill Goblin to reband. Yeah, we should do that. Am I at war with Chill Goblin right now? No, it's We're in Hell that I'm at war at for reasons I can't really remember why. That is good. That is good, Dr. Anarchy. Frightful little hobgoblins. That's good. Yeah, so where were we in the chat wise? The video did well. I was kind of hoping it would do a bit better, because that would have been good. My channel's been a little bit stagnant for a few months, and I was kind of hoping it would do a bit better. But I think I expected more people to be invested with the G-Word show, and I have a wee suspicion that the show didn't do very well on Netflix and didn't do enough to generate enough discourse to sort of ride a wee wave in that sense. But it's done well, and I'm quite. You know what? One of the reasons why I wanted this video to do well is because I think it's the most competent video I've done in terms of like video making. Like, I think it's one of the few videos I make that justifies it being a video and not just an essay. Because a lot of my stuff is just, I know my limits. I'm not good at the video element of making YouTube videos. But that one, I think the video element came together in a good way, which was nice to see. So that would have been nice if that had just popped up a little bit more. But yeah, I get the feeling not that many people watch the show, because to be honest, who really wants to watch a show that is funded by Obama? Like, not that many people, to be honest. It's one of the things that makes me think, like, the idea that the show could operate to get people to move further left. Like, who in the first instance is gonna switch on a show, immediately see Obama and be like, this is something I want to listen to? Not that many people, I don't think. Yeah. So I think I'd round him for a lot of people. That might be the problem. Yeah, maybe. The bookshelves. I mean, you know what? This is something that I'm gonna do. I've got a plan for the next like short wee video. Is gonna do I'm gonna do a wee video on books that I find that have been particularly useful to me. Because people have suggested that a few times, and I think that'd be a nice sort of fun wee video to do between a bigger project. I might do that for the next one because right now I'm just extremely busy. And I will get to the video on masculinity at some point. It's been my next planned video for a long time, and I've just not had the time to do the research into it. But doing a like wee 10-minute video on various different books that have been particularly useful to me would be, I think, a good thing, a good wee video to do. Yes, that and talking about books and things like that. I mean, I can't be bothered moving my laptop right now to show you this all right now, but there's some good shit in there. I mean, it could be a bunch of shit. Like, we'll see. I think there's something worth saying in there. But we've, like, it's interesting. So I've been planning this sort of for a long time before the recent spat of YouTube videos on masculinity have come out, like between FD and Joe Goblin. I've been planning it for a while, and it's just sort of a matter of finding something worthwhile to say, because I mean, the initial question that's in my head about the topic is, my big thing being social reproduction theory is that there's so much about the recreation of gendered labour, which is subordinated to feminine subjects, but not much attention paid to how masculinity is recreated through that similar process. So it's something that I'd be interested in doing, and I think I can do that in a slightly different way than other people. I've not actually watched Jill Goblin's video yet. I really should get around to it. Yeah, I mean, it's a sort of fraught subject, and there's not much written about it in the literature in terms of like the sort of SRT literature, which I think is interesting. Yeah, so I think it'll be something interesting to do, and to sort of see if we can recreate a different work to recreate a different masculinity, or whether masculinity as a concept is something that just has to be abolished in a similar vein. Like, can you abolish gender without abolishing masculinity, or can you abolish, or do you need? Are these concepts things that are strong and hold on beyond binaries of gender and things like that? I think these are interesting questions which are probably beyond the scope of a video essay, but something that's worth sort of doing. Yeah, FD, and I've watched some of FD's videos, which I enjoy. I always enjoy FD. Another good egg in the YouTube sphere. Yeah, femininity is inherently revolutionary is an interesting thing. I mean, I don't think that's obviously not always true, because there are lots of femininities that aren't revolutionary. But in terms of black femininity, often the case. Although I imagine that's not strictly always the case either, because there are femininities within emergent sort of discourses which aren't strictly revolutionary in that sense. Yeah, exactly. But I think there's some sort of racialized one terms as well. See, as femininity, I don't know if femininity is always in opposition to patriarchy. I would have to sort of go into the book to give any sort of reasoned critique there. Yeah, I enjoy FD's stuff. Someone was asking earlier, any advice for a wannabe video essayist? I mean, it's hard to say. Like, I'm not the most successful person around. I've been doing this for almost 3 years now. And I've just always done what I thought was interesting. Like, I've rarely tried to chase a zeitgeist, which is probably good, and the only reason I keep doing it is because I'm interested in doing it. One thing I can't do is, if someone tells me to do or asks me to do a subject, unless it sparks something that I go, oh, that's actually something that I really want to talk about, then I won't be able to do it. I can only really do something if I'm really do a video essay if I'm really interested in it. I guess it's a hard thing to say. Any advice? Just practice. Assume that the stuff that you're gonna do is gonna be bad for a while. I mean, I don't think my content really got good until I've been doing it for at least a year. And even then, looking back on stuff, it's just oh, this is not great. The content-wise, I'm politics and politics and stuff has moved on, but I'm still fairly fine with the content. But just delivery, film, video making, awkwardness on camera, and just oh, yeah, this is bad. But yeah, it's something that comes with practice. Next big one I want to tackle is Blood in the Water, the Attica prison uprising of 1971 and its legacy. That sounds like a dense topic. Well, that's very kind of you to say. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean it's some things are some videos I reach the end of it, I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of bored with that topic. Some I'm like, yeah, I could do another video and be happy with it. I mean, it's always hard to sort of, to what Isabel's saying, is there is a community of people, and as much as like there are group chats among people who know each other, which is funny whenever people get mad, because people get mad about group chats in weird ways, and normally the group chats are folk just like sending memes to each other and getting each other to do voiceovers and stuff. So like there are wee communities, which is nice, and it is nice to have a wee community of folk, because I'm basically colleagues who work in the same area, and the work is necessarily somewhat isolating, especially if you're in a role, if your other outside job is something like a graduate student, a PhD student, which is as well naturally quite an isolating job. So having a community of people is very, very helpful to sort of combat isolation and to sort of talk things through with colleagues and learn how to get better. And it is difficult to get in, and part of the reason it's difficult to get in is unfortunately because sometimes, unfortunately I have recently had a first experience about this, people can be very, very weird, and as much as you want to always be supportive of people starting out in the field in YouTube, you do get sometimes bad experiences where you're happy to retweet someone's video who's starting out and it looks nice, and then they start getting very strange and yeah, it can weird things can happen. So as people get more and more into the community, they obviously get more insular and sort of protective, where you worry about, is this person solid, or are they going to do bad shit? Are they going to influence the community in bad ways and things like that? And people react badly if you stop paying them attention and things like that. So there's like weird tensions in the area that can make it difficult for people who are more established to help people who are less established. And the unfortunate reality of that is it's all entirely based off personal relationships and friendships, and that's just the fact. That's just the fact of it. You can try to get over it to some extent, but I can't. I don't know how. And it's one of the reasons why, Philosophy Tube doesn't do much sort of uplifting of smaller creators at things, because I know she's had a lot of bad experiences with that shit. So, and I can very much understand why she'd want to step back and not get involved in that, because various bad experiences. I will make. I even have the whiteboard down here with little topics already there. I've got books written. I've got the books in the digital library. I've got one on Towards a Gay Communism, which I'm excited to read, because I'm hoping that that will have some interesting insights about differences in liberational praxis and theory within different conceptions of masculinity, which of course gayness and being bisexual are different, naturally different conceptions of masculinity. So I'm looking forward to reading that. That's been sitting on my shelf for a while. I'm really looking forward to reading that. Yeah. It is it is an interesting sort of thing to be on in a sort of YouTuber, and it is an interesting and sometimes cursed field to be in. Yeah. I mean, I'm not controlling of that. I wouldn't start an unofficial one myself because I'm already stretched thin and have not very good at keeping in with the current server, the Patreon server. I mean, if you want, I'm not going to stop anyone else who wants to start an unofficial one. That's very much fine with me. I wouldn't be part of it myself because I think it's fine. I don't know. You can do that if you want. Doesn't bother me. Yeah, fucking chill chat. Start an unofficial server if you want. That's no fucking skin off my nose. Absolutely no bother. Sorry, I can't read that thing. Have I read any Malatesta? I haven't, but I do have a bunch of Malatesta in my digital library. As someone I was doing a upgrade Viva with for my PhD was asked me if I'd read a book, and I said it was in my digital library, and he interrupted me saying, digital library, gathering digital dust. There's a bunch of digital dust over my Malatesta that I've not yet read. Yeah. I should read it. It's been sitting there for ages. I've been meaning to read it for years and years and years. So much to read, so little time, yeah. Last book I read was an interesting book. It was, I finally got round to reading Jessica White's Morals of the Market. Hey, Birdie, how's it going? That drawing you did was so good. It was very, very cool to see a drawing. I've never seen a drawing of myself before. It was a very, very fun thing to see, and it was really good. So thank you for that. Yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, The Morals of the Market. That was the book that was gathering digital dust. Was Jessica White's The Morals of the Market. Very good book. Thoroughly recommend that book. Very interesting, and a few good theoretical things on neoliberalism and human rights. Now, the human rights stuff is specifically targeting hegemonic human rights, and I think it overstates its case in terms of human rights and how that interacts with neoliberalism. That's the specific topic of my PhD stuff. My PhD is about the use of human rights and its relation to neoliberalism. And I think that Jessica White overstates her case to some extent in terms of her theory that human rights have become subordinate to and a tool of neoliberalism necessarily. And she makes a sort of equivocation at some point, which is like, I know there are subaltern movements which do different things, but we're not talking about that. But still, she tends to overstate her case a little bit. But aside from that, it is an extremely good book, very well worth the read, very readable as well. Lots of interesting stuff on the production of subjects and histories of neoliberalism. Basically stuff that if you enjoy the content of this channel, you'll probably enjoy that book. My face was surprisingly tricky. I was once told by a hairdresser that I have a weird shaped crown, so maybe that's got something to do with it. It's so great to see leftist creators collab, but it makes total sense for the biggest left YouTubers to not want to work with anybody. Yeah, I mean, by that time you're just working with people that you trust. I mean, in terms of like folk like Abby, she's previously worked with the likes of Peter Coffin, who turned into being not the most good person about. So I can see why you'd be careful. Hey, Sinan, welcome to the stream. I would say the best thing about this is picking who you work with. Yeah. David Harvey's 17 Contradictions is a good chapter on how big charity often works to launder capitalism. Yeah, that's a classic. That's a classic of the genre. One of the things, there's a good segment in Morals of the Market where Jessica White talks about Doctors Without Borders and their sort of parent organisations work to launder neoliberalism and attack third worldism and attack the concept of neocolonialism, which is a depressing chapter. But yeah, it was one of the things that became my master's degree was in human rights and international politics, and the biggest takeaway from that is that every single international NGO is the fucking pits, and everything that they do works to further the problems that they supposedly solve. Charities and NGOs, they're not great. They're not great. Good luck, Sinan. Everyone should follow Sinan, Eski the Crusader, on Twitch and on YouTube. Another good egg. Right, we're gonna do another tune, because this one's getting on my nerves. gonna put down another one that's nicer to chat along to. But I quite like that. Get a nice, more mellow sort of chat vibe going. That's quite a nice wee chatting tune there for everyone. There we go. Hello Bubble Boy, welcome to the stream. How are we doing? Welcome to my Marxism stream. In the years since 2008 recession, there's been a massive worldwide resurgence in interest in Marxists. You know, it's weird, people have noticed that the amount of papers I've read with that is just, at this point, unreasonable. It's just unreasonable. Like... coming in here while we're chilling with some nice chill tunes and firing up my own tweets back at me. Outrageous, Bubble Boy. Yeah. What's on the brain for everyone? Sounds like Sinner and Hazel have got some yeah. I mean, like, yeah, it happens. There's a line in one of my PhD chapters in which I use say that the neoliberals view the market as or try to rhetorically create the market as a god, and like there's a wee sort of footnote where I've like said it's only taking me 25,000 words into this PhD before making such a trite comparison. That shit comes up a lot in neoliberal literature as well, and I'm not above it. Oh man. Oh Birdie, that sounds horrible. I'm really sorry. Hazel, no, you don't. The chat is for chatting. That's what the point is. The whole point is for chat. It's called a chat. It's much better that you guys talk through than I'm left. Early streams that I did where it was just a few folk, it was a lot more challenging because nobody was around and nobody was chatting and there wasn't anything for me to jump off of and ramble about. Was one of my friends messaged me being like, how the hell do you stream for 3 hours at a time? And it's like, I mean, playing guitar helps, getting a little bit buzzed helps. I don't know how people stream for like full days. Like it's exhausting. I do like a stream for a couple of hours once every 2 weeks, and like it's really tiring. I don't know how people do it. Yeah, it's sinning. I don't know how you do it. Like, I've been on streams where, like, I've been on like charity streams for that length of time, but I'm not the one doing the streaming. Oh, that's good. Great vibes from Naomi on Trader Joe's just unionised. First in the US. We love to see it. Things we love to see. Checkmarked it. Yeah, with other people there, it's obvious. If you're just sort of talking with other people, it makes more sense. You're sort of chilling with folk. Yeah, I mean, Sinan, you're much more professional about streaming than I am. I piss about, play some guitar and drink some wine once every 2 weeks. So you might be on top of everything. I'm not. I maybe put on a shirt. I'm really liking this track though. I was unsure when I was making it, but it's quite nice. Bear that in mind, buddy. Yeah, it's true, Dr. Aki. I like your stream. Your stream's good. Look, it's hot. I'm allowed to be a little bit slutty. It's like... Yeah, I accidentally did a fundraiser stream for the RMT strikes. I mean, that's a good accident. That's a happy accident. I hope folk are going to be by picket lines if they can. If they can this weekend. Solidarity and all to the RMT strikers. I think it's one of the happier accidents to accidentally raise £100 for a strike fund. Like, I accidentally stubbed my toe. And that doesn't raise any money. That just hurts my toe. I've never accidentally raised £100. I don't think I've ever accidentally done anything with £100. I don't think that, like, the worst I've ever accidentally spent on a night out is like 50. He accidentally fell through a friend's conservatory on his 21st birthday. How much money did you get from that? £100? Anything less? £180. How? Was that in London? I can understand in London because that's like 18 drinks. I mean, I guess I spent most of my adult life in Glasgow, where you don't need to get fucking taxis. Nottingham. How? Sorry. Okay. Sit down. How did you spend £180 on a night out in Nottingham? And Christina, 50 quid on a night out in Glasgow is a lot of money. Especially if you've already bought your drink beforehand. 50 quid is a lot of money. John drinks bad wine for strike funds. I mean, John drinks bad wine, so you don't need to do anything to do that. Lads, not knowing the transcendent... Okay. I don't have €300 to spend on a night out. I don't know. It's not like possible for me to spend that much because I spent £30 on an Uber to get back to my flat last week because it was 5 a.m. and there was no taxis or trains, and that is already outrageous to me. Like, I think Glasgow's getting worse now. When I was last up in Glasgow, there was some prices there that were like London prices. Like, I bought a gin and it was like 12 quid, and I saw through time. It was horrific. But there was like in other places it was like cheap as hell. There was like £2.50 for a gin and tonic. It was like, yeah, this is the Glasgow I know. Yeah, that guilt, it does get you. There was the bar that we used to go to in Glasgow when we were first students, which is a fucking 10 years ago now, which is outrageous to me. Time, what's that about? That's fun. Thinking 10 years ago I started university, and here I am, still in university, with some leaving in between, but you know what, that's fun. But we used to there was a bar at Strathclyde in the middle of the student village called Todd's Bar, and you could get £1 vodka mixers, like shot and mixer, vodka, gin, JD, whatever, and mixer, 50p shots. It was like you could have a whole night out without pre-drinks for like £20. It was amazing. I'm not sure if Todd's even exists anymore. Altair, 5 years, oh you child. I was out of the game, out the academia game for about 3 years there, working in bars and then working in welfare rights for a while, and then it was like, hey, do you want another insecure job? Let's go into academia. So I did that. It's a long time. I think one of the things that Scotland does, freelance academia. That's right. It's one of the. Should I include my YouTube shit in like an academic like CV? Because it's technically like public-facing engagement for research, but I do say fuck a lot. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. Yeah, in Scotland, where you're not allowed to have things like happy hours. It's illegal to have any. It's illegal to have any deals on booze in Scotland because we took things too far. I don't know. So you can't get happy hours or like 2-for-1 specials. So for a while there was just a period where the prices just deflated massively because all the bars were like, okay, we can't have cheap drinks on special times. We'll have always cheap drinks because that works better than having always expensive drinks. And then the Scottish government was like, we're fucking on to you. We know what you're up to. So now prices have been inflating a bit, I think. Yeah. I mean, Keith, university is not for everyone. The idea that everyone should go to university is obviously very silly. Everyone should have the chance, but some people, it's just, it's no better than anywhere else. Yes, the G word is based off a book. So someone commented, it was a really interesting comment. It's based off a book by the same guy who wrote The Big Short. And someone left a comment saying that the swell guy shit is a product of the book as well, which I find very, very interesting. And the person was like, oh, I didn't sort of clock what was going on when I was reading it, but when you brought up the swell guy stuff, suddenly like a lot of stuff, like sort of stuff fell into place about like what that book was doing. So it's very interesting. I'm not going to read it, but it's very interesting to me that that's a kind of inheritance of the book as well, because again it sort of speaks to that ubiquity of like a type of propaganda that's being used by liberals. The sort of swell guy shit. It's very interesting to me, and it's interesting that it's the same guy who wrote The Big Short as well. Because it's sort of, I've not read The Big Short. Obviously the movie has is slightly different, and the dramatizations being slightly different, but there are bits and pieces where you're like, there's a degree to which you're glamorizing these people making money off the financial crash, which I think is something that Judd Apatow, was Judd Apatow who did that, was it? To some extent was glamorizing the people making money off of it, and I think he was aware of that. But it is interesting that this is a feature that runs through the book. Part of me would be interested to read that book, but part of me is not going to read it, and that part is winning. So many questions about this, like, is there such thing as the educated class? Like, I wouldn't say there's such thing as an educated class. Like, education is something which is necessarily a class distinction, because education is, to gain knowledge, to gain education is not something that necessarily is gleaned through institutional movement, like going up through school to university and that. I think that you could say there's an educated class in the sense that people who are more privileged go to universities and still tend to get higher paid jobs compared to people who don't, and that's a sort of class distinction in that sense. No matter how shitty academic jobs are, and that's a sort of different thing. There's a lot of stuff on, not to hark on him, but Gramsci's organic intellectual stuff is kind of interesting and useful there, because for Gramsci, the organic intellectual is not necessarily someone who went to university. Like the distinction, we're going to get into Gramsci here, buckle up. Okay, buckle up, we're doing a thread. So in Gramsci, there's a distinction between an organic and a traditional intellectual, and people get sort of confused a little bit between in the terminology there. They think, traditional must mean like a professor, because that's what they traditionally view as an intellectual, and organic must mean something different. But what it actually means is that an organic intellectual is someone who organizes along the sort of hegemony or the subaltern sort of movement between the two. If you're a hegemonic organic intellectual, then you're an organic intellectual who organizes for the sustainment of that hegemony and emerge from it. So something like, in capitalism, something like an organic intellectual being an industrialist, because they organize along the lines of they organize workers, basically, in service of capital, and they are a product of the capitalist mode of production. A traditional intellectual would be something like the academic, but not because of like idealized notions of traditional intellectualism, but because they are the product of a previous mode of production. The academic had existed prior to capitalism and sustained through it, and then they still have that kind of organizing feature of capitalism, because they still educate basically capitalist classes, managerial classes through the university, but there'd be a traditional intellectual. An organic intellectual for the subaltern, which is something to do with what your question gets to, but whether there's an educated class or not. If you are someone like a community organizer who's working for the organizing of people against the current mode of production, then you would be an organic intellectual. And your work is organising people against the dominant mode of production, and in that sense, it is related to the sort of vanguardism, Lenin's vanguardism. So there is a degree of like an educated class, because they are educated through their praxis in how to organise people. But that's different from like being an educated class. It's like people who have degrees versus people who don't. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but it's what sort of got to me. Yeah, sorry if I went too fast there. The book, Sassoon's book on Gramsci's politics, is very good for this, and it's quite accessible, and you know, Zed library and that shit, and you can get it for free. Sorry, that was just me just fucking... Someone mentioned something and I was like, I can talk about Gramsci right now. I can talk about... someone's given me an excuse to talk about Gramsci. And we're gonna do that. We're gonna talk about Gramsci for a little while. Nobody's gonna give a fuck. Nobody's gonna give a fuck about what you're talking about, but we're gonna talk about Gramsci for a little bit. There's always times for Gramsci, isn't there? Is that trans for Gramsci? We're always in that. You triggered the Gramsci spiel. He's good, what can I say? Alright, now we've done some Gramsci. Will we do another theme and let's get some disco? Fuck, who was it that said, who was that, Sinan, who talked about Gramsci being rubbish because he died? Fuck, that was so grim. Stephen Fielder, yes! Oh my god. You talk about an educated class, Hazel, like. So, we'll get to a tune in a second. Let's talk about politics professors. If you want evidence that that politics professors have no idea about the world, follow people like Steve Fielding, Professor Steve Fielding, or Matthew Goodwin, another politics professor. These people are the absolute worst dregs of humanity, and they're so fucking smug. And it's like, Steve Fielder and Matthew Goodwin are sort of the two ends of politics professors. It's a STEM brain thing because, okay, so within politics as a discipline, there was a break about 40 years ago, kind of concomitant with neoliberalism, where politics as a discipline moved from political theory into political science, where they started getting really obsessed with data and voting behaviour and tracking voting behaviour, and these very I'm going to say like sort of structuralist in the sense that they were concerned about isolated political structures like the political party or like Westminster as a political structure, and they got really, really fascinated about this stuff. And what that's produced is a class of politics professors who exist to argue for no change, because to them change is abhorrent, because a change to a structure upsets their entire view of the world. Because they examine structures like Westminster and like voting behaviour are things they understand. So if you suddenly say, well, what if Westminster didn't exist? They lose their fucking minds. What if you start questioning like the political party as a structure in a liberal democracy? They lose their fucking minds and they have no idea what they're talking about. So someone like Gramsci, who talks about the political party from a socialist perspective, is abhorrent to people like Professor Steve Fielder or Fielding, whatever his name is. And so they have to dismiss them in completely vacuous ways. Things like, oh, he died in prison. He was imprisoned by the fascists and he died. So, you know, therefore he can't be that good. And it's wild. They have like zero understanding of the world around them. And mostly I feel sorry for their students, because imagine being taught by someone like that. It'd be grim. But at another level, I feel annoyed that I see their tweets. I think I might be blocked by both of them at this point. Yeah. Politics professors, not a great bunch of lads, I'm afraid. They tend to be big on the bullshit, and that's why I call myself a political sociologist. Fucking trick my way out of that. I think I'm blocked by Goodwin as well. I mean, it's funny. I think it's my old undergraduate supervisor who got me blocked by Goodwin, because we were making fun of him on Twitter, and he blocked us. I think that's what happened. I can't remember. Feeling I might have muted him or blocked him. I don't know. Yeah, bad people. I think sometimes I definitely did the wrong course in undergraduate. Like, I shouldn't have studied politics or political science, whatever, because I don't give a fuck about political parties in liberal democracies. I don't really care that much about voting behaviour. I probably should have done something like philosophy or sociology, but the one thing that it's useful for is knowing the sort of ins and outs of a politics department, and knowing how fucked it is, and that's kind of useful shit to know for being in academia. So in that sense, it's useful. Let's do a different tune. like that one. I like that one as well. So, but we'll get another more chill one, chill track to lay us down some more chat to. Yeah. Well, welcome to the new folk. Welcome to the stream. Always good to see you, Annabelle.
There we go. That's a nicer sort of background tune. What have I missed? What have I missed in chat? Exciting stuff happening. Oh, John, you're the people who you're the ones who are doing the connecting. I'm just sitting here fucking about. So it's on you more than me. Don't want me to die on stream. I won't die on stream. Oh, that would be a pretty fucking baller way to go. Like the e-celeb fucking dying on stage, equivalent of dying on stage. Do you remember that fascist who died on stage of a heart attack? That was funny. Oh, the Waitrose discourse is still going on. Fucking hell. How is the Waitrose discourse still going on? Getting super chats. Yeah, I mean, it'd be fair, you know. You gotta become part of the moment. Waitrose discourse. So, basically, don't forget to pay respects. Yeah, basically, Annabelle, a sort of centre-left journalist in the UK made a joke about fans of Keir Starmer being Waitrose shopping nerds. Essentially, that was the joke, and it's inspired some anger. It's touched a nerve from people who definitely don't shop at Waitrose, and definitely don't feel guilty about it and have any class anxiety about being fucking Waitrose shoppers. They're really mad about it, which is very strange to me. I mean, like, Waitrose, shop at Waitrose, it's fine. Like, if you're, why are you that anxious about shopping at Waitrose? I'm not gonna say that. I was about to say something that could get me in trouble, and I decided not to say it. Yeah, I mean, you should. Oh, I was at a Lidl last week. Oh, it was marvelous. There's a Lidl. There's no good supermarkets near me in any real sense, but there's a Lidl near where I was on Saturday, and I was like just wandering through the place, just like fucking. It was like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, like, come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. As I like bought cereal for 80p. It was amazing. I miss living near an Aldi. It's so good. I only live near a Sainsbury's, and it's a fucking Sainsbury's local where there's nothing there. Furious about it. What? No. Again, I was about to say that same thing, which could get me in trouble, which I'm not gonna say. Fucking 3 seconds, John. Control yourself. I'm not gonna say it. I mean, I'm not gonna say it because, if anything, if my mum finds out about it, she'll be mad, and that's not worth anything. If I say something and then my mum hears about it and gets mad, and I know my siblings can be fucking rats about that sometimes, so I'm not gonna say that. Get myself in trouble with my mum. Willy Wonka is an American-sounding person running a candy factory in London. Who knows? Who knows where Willy Wonka is? Waitrose, M&S are the polished ones. Then I guess like Morrison's and Sainsbury's would probably be the next tier, and then Tesco, Asda, Lidl, and Aldi at the bottom. I think it. My mum told me those stories, Hazel. Like, that's how I know those stories. Because she told me them. For anyone that, like, it was from her. Like, anyone doesn't know, like, So a story my mum told me once. She used to work in a nightclub in Shetland, and one day saw a guy who looked the spitting image of her granddad, and was like, does she know? I mean, she'd be fine. She'd be fine with that. It's interesting. She's not embarrassed about it. My granny might be, but she's not gonna find out. Yeah, it was my mum saw this guy who looked the spitting image of her granddad, and told my granny, and she was like, oh yeah, that's your granddad's secret family. My mum was like, oh, we have a secret family. Who knew? And in the Shetland Islands as well. Like, why would you? Everybody knows everything about each other. Why would you try and start a secret family in an island that has a population at that point of like 30,000? Real fucking difficult hours. Yeah. I mean, Gene Wilder can do whatever he wants. He's a national treasure. Playing second family on hardboard. Yeah. I do enjoy hearing stories, because in general, like, my mum's side of the family is much more respectable than my dad's. Aside from things like that, my dad's side of the family, you always get things like, oh yeah, your great uncle shot me when he was, or your uncle shot me when he was 16 with an airsoft rifle, and stole some weapons from a local shop, and I shot up a like main street in the middle of the night one night. And you're like, fucking hell, Dad, that's quite a story to tell me. And my mum's side of the family is generally like, oh yeah, your granddad used to squeeze out guinea pigs over the bathtub because they were constipated. So there's like a different tenor of story, and then mum just comes out with this one about the secret family, and you're like, fucking hell, you had some spice in there too. Found out yesterday that apparently my grandfather, who died before I was born, cheated on my grandma, but my mum only found out about it as an adult and never told her siblings. It's wild that parents do that. Like, my dad told us something during the pandemic that was like a big thing, and something like, I'll tell you, I'll get to the guinea pigs in a second. Like it was a big thing in his life, and he something like important and like instructive about who he is as a person today, and he just casually mentioned it like a couple of years ago, that hadn't mentioned it before to anyone, to any of the kids, for like the full 30 years that he'd had children. At that point, like 33 years he'd had children, and just sort of fucking casually mentioned it. And you're like, what? Why would you not just tell us this sort of thing earlier? Like, a really weird sort of like secret to have. Yeah, strange how parents do that shit. So they're squeezing out the guinea pigs. So my granddad had guinea pigs. He loved his guinea pigs. They got constipated, and for a period, I think it was maybe a couple of years, every night he would hold them over the bathtub and squeeze them out like a wee tube of toothpaste, and squeeze the poo out of them. And he would do that for a long time. And a sort of an addendum to that story is that my mum, like me, is horribly allergic to guinea pigs. So my granddad was like squeezing out these things in the bathtub while my mum was dying of asthma in the next room. Because he just liked the guinea pigs and liked looking after them. He loved animals. He wasn't the best with them. He did have crows. Like he has had several crows that he rescued and used to sort of hang out on his shoulders for a while. Quite an extraordinary man, my granddad. When he turned 80, my mum, who likes to draw caricatures, little cartoons, had drawn this whole like cartoon panel sequence of a granddad squeezing out the guinea pigs in the bathtub. I mean, I can't speak to the efficacy of squeezing out guinea pigs. I can only say I don't recommend it. It seems like not the most effective way to cure constipation, but I can't go near guinea pigs without dying. So, I mean, I guess I'll never know. I'll never be able to conduct those experiments without a fucking hazmat suit. So I guess we're left to speculate. I mean, I get tinfoil paint. I guess it's kind of like a euphemism for having to take a poop real bad, except that the person having to take a poop real bad is a guinea pig. Can I find the illustration? It might be around. I don't know. That was a good. Oh, when was Grandad? He was 80 in 2010. So that was a good 12 years ago now. So it might not exist anymore. It was very funny. She was very good at illustrations, my mum. She had a good one of so they had this car. He built his own car because he was an immensely talented man, and it was a rickety mess of a car because while being immensely talented, he wasn't a mechanic. So he had this sort of rickety car that he'd built himself, that didn't have seat belts and shit like that. And one time when he was driving my mum's family round the countryside at the Shetland Islands, he spotted a rabbit and leapt out the car, ran after the rabbit, caught it, and was just stroking it because he loved animals. He just loved animals so much that he would chase after them till they were terrified and just hold them because he loved them so much. And there's a great illustration my mum did of this story of this rickety old car and all the kids looking confused in the back while my granddad bolts off after a rabbit. What a man. No, my granddad's first name was George. Wasn't Peter. Though to be honest, if your granddad had a secret family in Shetland, there's like a strong chance our families know each other. That's just how it is. He was quite a guy, an interesting guy. I don't. It's not the same guy. Though if you told me a second name, I might be able to track down who that was within a couple of messages. My mum's best friend, whose daughter's wedding I was at the other week, knows everyone. So in a couple of messages I could probably find out that goss for you. Everyone in Shetland. John's storytelling hour, where he tells stories about his family where he's not sure if he should tell them. It is weird, sort of the strange lives that these people, that our family members live in different times. Alright, we're on the last of the wine now, so I think we're gonna have one more drink after I finish this wine. So a little. We got a little while left. What time did we start? At 8:30? Oh, we've gone 3 hours. This might be the last one. Will we do another tune? What are we feeling? The funny thing about the funny thing about oh, and sorry, to be clear, it wasn't my granddad who had the secret family. It was my great granddad on my mother's side. His name was Robbie. So a different, it's a different generation. It wasn't my granddad, great granddad. So it was my mother's granddad who had the secret family. My granddad would not, that sort of thing wouldn't truck with him. He was too busy trying to find new ideas, joining bands or building cars or learning how to make wooden rocking horses to have time to have affairs. One of the most amazing things he did, the year he turned 80, my granddad had a 20-year plan, devised a 20-year plan to divert the course of a river near his house. Unfortunately, he got dementia before he could complete this 20-year plan, but it's a very sort of indicative story for the type of man he is, that he turned 80 and thought, okay, let's have a 20-year plan for the future. That perfect talking type of wind, yeah. You should have done, I mean, 5 years, unfortunately, would have hit him with the dementia, but he was indefatigable until that hit. I mean, he used to make. It's funny. So it's a funny thing. Like when he died, my whole life I've been compared to my dad. We look quite alike. We've got that Duncan chin. We're both academics and you know, tall, skinny guys. He was a former communist. I'm a current communist. You know, we were compared a lot. And then at my granddad's funeral, which unfortunately I missed the funeral segment because of plane delays and shit, which was a whole ordeal. But in the wake, there was a bunch of photos going around of him when he was young, and he had my nose. This is called the Boswell beak, this thing. And there was all these photos of him when he was young, and he looked like spookily like me, and it's really weird your whole life, because it's my mum's dad, not my dad's dad. So the whole life I've been told compared to my dad's side of the family, and then just suddenly all these photos emerged, and it's like, oh, you look exactly like your mum's side of the family from this specific angle. And it's a nice thing. I used to be really self-conscious about my nose when I was a teenager, because it's not insubstantial. But these days it's nice to have like a sort of connection to that side of the family. It's a proud nose. It's a fucking. There's a lot of real estate on there. I remember. It just appeared. Like I used to have a normal nose, like a normal person might have a normal nose, and then one day I just woke up and this was there, and I remember my uncle. I met my uncle. He hadn't seen me in a few years. And my mum got out the car and went, "Boy, look at what's appeared on John's face." And my uncle just turned round and went, "Whew, boy, that's a bad one." It's it's the Boswell beak. Thank you, Theo. Oh yeah, thanks, Aidan. Thanks, Aidan Sullivan. Thank you for that. Luckily, I've got a fucking belter of a chin to match. I've got a very pointy face. It's all angles, and Birdie has a difficult face to draw. It's all angles and fucking edges. That's why you thought it'd be easier to draw. Oh. My mum has the same nose and swears she hates smoking, and she swears that her big nose can sniff out smoking. Now, I know this isn't true fully, but because my dad stopped smoking when my sister was born. My younger sister, he didn't give up when I was born, but he gave up when she was born, and we're gonna leave that be for now. But he quit smoking when she was born, and for years and years we'd find like cigarette packets in his room, and like, or he'd come back from the pub smelling of smoke, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, the milkman was smoking," and he blew his smoke in my face. And then he'd come downstairs and give us £20 to like not say anything, not say anything, but he'd just be like, "Hey, here's £20." And my mum still thinks that he's not smoked since my sister was born. But one time that her nose did come in useful for smoking was when my eldest brother was a teenager. He had some friends, right, and one of them wanted to smoke, and so they put towels under the door, opened the window, and hanged his friend out of the window, second story window, for his friend to smoke. The moment my brother's friend lit the cigarette, my mum was up the stairs, banging on the door, going, "Who's smoking in there?" So she can smell it when it's happening around her. Thank you, bubble boy. That's very kind. Sorry that my face is hard, Birdie. I don't know how to reconcile that. Yeah. Just deep dives into my family for stream. I think you got it right. I really like it. I really like the drawing. It reminds me of the did anyone ever see Atlantis? Is it The Search for Atlantis? The Disney film, and there's a main character in that who's got like a kind of long pointy face. It reminded me a bit of that. If you smoke weed, no one ever mentions the tobacco. Yeah, sure. Oh, nice. Well, I'm glad I picked up on that. Yeah, the animated movie Tinfoil. Oh, played by Michael J. Fox. I did not know that. I don't even think I've seen that movie. I think I've just seen the art for it. I might have seen it a long time ago. Let's do another tune. quite like that. Hello, new people to the stream. How are we doing? We got some. Would we call that a spicy tune? No, I'd say that was quite a mellow tune. Have a mood. What mood? Yeah, I quite like that wee tune. Trying to build up. Gonna try and get about 20 tracks to put on the next stream album to put out. Got some nice things. All the things in the chat are spicy. Oh, okay, fine. So then I'm sure we can play similar stuff. I don't play metal. I don't like metal much. It's sorry. Right. Okay. Is it Cade J? Is that? Are you implying that we should end the stream? Is that what you're saying? Have you had enough of me? Is it time to end according to you? Outro music. I don't like Metallica, I'm sorry, I just don't like it. It just doesn't vibe with me. I'll have one more drink after this, we've got some time. So then, the idea that you have seen Metallica live is the least surprising thing I've ever heard. $15 to end the stream, yeah. Bubble Boy actively working against me. Tool, I don't know if I've ever listened to Tool. Maybe my brother used to be. I mean, part of it is that my brother used to be really into metal and used to. One time my brother sellotaped me. So the bed my brother has as a teenager, which is now the bed in my room, because I got his room after he moved out, was a loft bed, and he once sellotaped me to the pillar of the loft bed about a foot off the ground and started blasting Slipknot at me and left me there until the sellotape unstuck and I fell on the ground after about an hour. That might have something to do with me not being a big fan of metal, that particular memory. That might have something to do with it. Yeah. I'm sure there's some metal that I probably like. I mean, yeah, terrible but funny. It is funny, and you do have to accept that. I think I've heard some of Rammstein. I mean, the fucking music I play on stream, it's not exactly metal, is it? You have to get into metal at about 12, otherwise that ship sails. That's probably true. I do like Funkadelic. I mean, I get that's probably one of the least surprising things is that I do like Funkadelic. Of course I do. I fucking love disco. I love funk. I fucking one of my favorite albums the past years was the Bruno Mars and the Silk Sonic album. That fucking soul funk disco shit. Oh, well into it. Blood Orange disco, disco fucking stuff is so good. I love it so much. I was so annoyed at the wedding I was at. There's no reason to be annoyed, really, thinking back on it, but the wedding I was at the other week, the band didn't play a single disco track, and I was so mad. I was so ready to, like, when I drink, I fully, like, some people are sad drunks, some people are angry drunks. I'm a dancey drunk, and that's all I want to do if I've been drinking is dance. And the lack of disco at a wedding is unacceptable to me. All I wanted to do, I was wearing a kilt. I could have done so much with that. But there was no disco. There was fucking The Killers and Sweet Caroline and all the classic fucking wedding tracks. Not a single fucking piece of funk to be seen. I could have done so much with it. That's all I'm saying. With a kilt and a dance floor, could have done so much. Oh, every single wedding. So a job I used to do, a job I've done a lot for like several years, was doing like wait staff and bartending in weddings. Every single wedding, like we used to have like bets about when particular tracks would come up in the evening, because these tracks would come up at some point, and they would be like the Killers, there would be Sweet Caroline. There'd be things like Loch Lomond would always be played at the end. 500 Miles would be played. That one gets a pass because it's 500 miles. You know, the classic wedding songs. Every time they'd come up. Breakfast at Tiffany's, another one that was always up. And and all of these songs, aside from 500 Miles, they've seared myself. They've seared themselves in my brain, and I just cannot enjoy them. They're just all uniquely terrible. Sweet Caroline. Sweet Caroline. In Scotland, when someone plays Sweet Caroline, they go, instead of when they go Sweet Caroline, everyone shouts Buckfast wine. And the first time, that was charming. The 900th time, it was infuriating. It's I just think it's a bad song. It's a bad song, and I hate it. I hate it so much. Like, I really hate it. Alright, so after this drink I'm gonna have a gin. I'm gonna grab the cat, because you all deserve to see the cat. Even if he's asleep, I'm gonna grab him. And so we'll return with gin and cat in a sec. We've got the little bastard, and he's already causing trouble. Yeah, he's already causing trouble. Puss, stop trying to eat my headphones. Say hello to your fans. Say hello to your fans. They're here for you. Oh, yep, take those out. Okay, cool. Oh my god, your breath. It smells so bad. How can one cat's breath smell that bad? That's the question. Okay, little baby. Ugh. How can your breath smell so bad? See that these are your fans. People escaping pegging, discourse. These are your fans. See, we got them like little like breath treats things. They just don't work. He just has foul breath. I've never known a cat to have bad breath. But it's truly awful. What are you doing? Okay. Let go. I don't know why he lets me get away with the things that I do to him. Like, why does he let me do this? He lets me do all sorts. Look at this little fucking cockney geezer. Why does he let me do that? Like, he's not. Look how long he is. It's bizarre, utterly bizarre. Like, I've had cats my whole life, and they've been outdoor cats who've been out murdering rats and stuff. But this little bastard is like, he just lets you do shit to him. Other cats I've had have had a sense of dignity. There is no dignity to this thing. There is no dignity to him. He's like a muppet. It's honestly bizarre. Right. Will we keep you in? We'll keep you in chat for a little bit. Gin and tonic, by the way. Oh, he has slapped me before. But when he slaps me, it's normally when I'm trying to drag him out my room. When he's hidden underneath a bedside cabinet. Not when I'm making fun of him. Or making him dance. Or type on a keyboard like a little business boy. Squeeze the gin out of him, yeah. He did do a poo on the floor this morning. That my flatmate had to clean up. It's not a pint of gin, no. Didn't have enough tonic for a pint. Oh, you are so strange. He's incredibly soft. Alright, are we gonna chuck you out? He is incredibly cute. He's a little prince. Okay. Well, There's no reason why you should let me do this. You're not getting the gin. He does like an audience. He does like people. We did have a party here, and he was a little bit freaked out by everyone. But he likes beer, like in the sense that anytime someone cracks open a beer, no one's given him beer, but he tries to like lick beer. He likes the smell of it. He tries to get it really desperately. I don't think he's ever managed to get a hold of it, but he really wants to. Alright, you. Let's see. Time out. Enough. Enough time for you. Boop. Did you just shush me? Alright. Out you come. Ugh. He's a bizarre beast. He is a bizarre little animal. He did try to shush me. Ugh. We all happy now? We happy with our little interlude with Anton? They are all unique. It is nice. The thing, my sort of dream at this point in my life is to be able to afford a place that I can get a dog and be able to afford a dog. And it was the one piece of good career advice I ever got in university was if you're going into human rights work, get a dog. Oh, he's cuddling my flatmate now. He's cuddling Tamash now. Yeah, the one piece of good career advice I ever got was if you're working in human rights stuff, because everything's naturally so awful, is to get a dog. And I mean, I that cat he's not like a dog because he's not like anything. He's a fucking bizarro little goblin fluff. I don't know what he is. Yeah, bizarre animal. I mean, he's cuddly now, but he did shit on the floor this morning, so swings and roundabouts. Right, I'm gonna do one last track, and then we'll see if there's any more sort of conversations and stuff, because it's getting late. One last track, and then we're done. Chat a bit if anyone's got any burning questions or desires they want to ask. like that. I like that tune. This one's getting noted. So, with that on, unless anyone's got any burning questions or anything that they'd like to discuss, I think we'll start drawing to a close here. Feel busted? What do you mean feel busted? That's just making me curious to read the chat more. Katie Tunstall. I do like a bit of Katie Tunstall. Another Scottish person. Do not read the chat. I won't read the chat, don't worry. Nobody tell John. See, now I'm getting curious. Yeah, so it's been a good stream. We've been going for a fair while now. Good return to action now. You have a question, Aiden? You have a question? I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm glad you're here too, Paul. Oh, if I was a D&D class in real life, what would it be? I mean, I guess sort of my job is speaking. So I guess a bard is probably the most fitting one, because I'm fucking half my time is playing music and chatting on streams. It like fits. Yeah, and the guitar and everything. Yeah. I mean, it's a class I've got no interest in playing. Really, in games, like I've never really felt like I wanted to play a bard. So, and a lot of D&D is playing things that you're not, that you aren't, for fun. So I guess that'd be fun. I have two ideas for a good like D&D character. One being a bard who goes round and sort of inspires like people to sort of like a fucking communist bard whose whole deal is doing like inspirational anti-boss speeches around different towns, and the other one being a paladin who's the worst, like the absolute worst style of ideologue who subscribes to a particular, like whatever fits within the context of the game is an ideologue, and their power is like not for a god but from like a particular ideological, that's how they gain their sort of paladin power. I think those would be two fun things to play. I mean, in real life it's just bard, isn't it? The fucking nerd class. People think wizards are the nerd class. Bards are the nerd class. I mean, my character in my regular game is a homebrew paladin class called Oath of the Common Man. That would be quite fun. That'd be a fun one. My current one, so I've changed my my class for my normal game with Thunderpants and with like We're in Hell and Chill Goblin, Xander and Aranok. We play Monday nights. Normally like every other Monday night, we play our game on Thunderpants DM on Twitch. You can watch that. And my character was a barbarian and is now a barbarian druid, which is fun. He's a fun character. I really like my character in that game. And Sinan, who was here earlier, I did a one shot with him where I played a rogue who was the diametric opposite of my regular character. Because my regular character, Joe Bogan, sweetest. He's the sweetest, kindest gent. He's just a lovely, lovely dim guy. And like, the reason he's a druid now is because he cares about the environment so much. He cares about nature. He cares about his pets. He's just lovely. And the character, what's the druid circle? I've not picked yet because I just did the multi-class, so I'm only level 7 barbarian, level 1 druid. So I think I'll probably go on, I think it's circle of spores would be quite a good one for my character. I have to sort of figure out what would be the most useful versus what's the most narratively interesting circle. Spores is interesting because he is into drugs, so a magic mushroom sort of druid would be quite fun, and it's also useful as well. But the opposite character that I played in Sinan's one shot, which I really hope it'd be good if we did more of that, was a guy called Ego Fantastique, who was like if Inigo Montoya from The Princess Bride was Han Solo, and was just like terrible, just a terrible person, and the exact opposite of Joe Bogan, and both characters are great. What are the rules? Hey, so if you want to follow the D&D stuff, go to Twitch and follow Thunderpants DM. We play late on Monday nights for UK time. It's like 12 till 3 UK time and like 4 until 7 Central US time. And that's like where you can normally see us play. Next time we've got a game going, because Thunderpants right now is writing the next like arc. I'll put it on the Discord next time that we're going live. Yeah, I would like to play D&D with people. Okay, I'm gonna admit an embarrassing thing right now. So, in the back of my mind, one thing that got played out when Adam Conover followed and then DM'd me was, I am a big fan of Dimension 20. Huge fan of Dimension 20, which is a D&D show. It's really, really good. And Dimension 20 is part of Dropout, which was College Humor, which is where Adam Ruins Everything was on. And the reason I found out about the new Adam Conover show was through Sam Reich, the head of Dropout. And when Adam Conover messaged me, part of my head went, can I leverage this to somehow get on Dimension 20? Is this something that I can do? Because that would be fucking incredible. That's not a possible thing to happen, and I get the impression that what Adam was looking for was sort of making sure his show wasn't trashed, rather than necessarily a connection going forward. But fuck, that would have been cool. And that little bit in my head was like, oh god, it would be cool. It would be cool to get on Dimension 20. I mean, Maggie May has been on. Oh yeah, you're saying Maggie May was on. I'm actually, yeah. Oh man, last time I spoke to Maggie, and it was a bit embarrassing because I was a little bit drunk, and then I was like, oh yeah, we've not really spoken, and Maggie was like, yeah, John, we've spoken. We've met on streams before. And I was like, okay, sorry. I mean, the first step for me in all of this is getting a passport, which I currently do not have. That was not my proudest moment. Not my proudest moment. She's lovely. I really like Maggie. She does really good work. She does really good work. Much better at the actual video element of YouTube. It's always good to have people that you can look at to learn more. I think Maggie is one of those people. Yeah. D&D though, it would be pretty cool to go to get on Dimension 20. There's one, you know, that sort of degrees of separation game. So there's one degree of separation between me and Obama, because it goes me, Adam Conover, Obama. Don't give a fuck about that. There's one degree of separation between me and Dimension 20. I fucking care about that. Because that'd be fucking cool. Yeah, I do need to update my passport. It's 75 quid though. It's a lot of money, and I'll do it at some point. I'll update it at some point. It's a hassle though. It's a hassle and it's a cost, and it's not gonna happen. Yeah, I mean Dimension 20 is better than Obama. There's a part of the first season of Dimension 20 where there are anarchist gnomes who talk about laws being the product of the dominant socio-economic racial group, and Obama doesn't have a Obama doesn't even get close to that. Brennan Lee Mulligan is one of those people that I don't want to look into, because my parasocial relationship is so strong that I will be deeply upset if he's bad. Oh, Unsleeping City Season 2. So I have a soft spot for when communities come together in TV shows. So things like at the end of spoilers for Dimension 20 Season 2, but there's a moment where across a city people come together and start fighting back against something coming. And I was watching it, and it's amazing that just watching people describe something gives you emotions. I was just sitting there going, oh fuck, this is making me feel too much. And listening to someone to describe a bunch of people banding together against Amazon and against gentrification, basically being Anyway, Dungeons and Dragons is a very good game. I mean, yeah, Spider-Man. Even Spider-Man, fucking the first Spider-Man. Remember the first Spider-Man when all the New Yorkers start ganging up on the Green Goblin and throwing rocks at him? It's that shit just gets to me. I just like that shit. It's just good. Second Spider-Man as well. It just works for me. You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, that's my pitch. If anyone from the team at Dropout or Dimension 20 is watching right now, just know, give me 6 months to get a passport and pay for my flight over to Los Angeles, and pay for my accommodation, and I will be on that show. You just have to meet you just have to meet those standards of those things. All right. We will call that a night, because we've been going for a long time now. But it's been a good stream. Glad to be back. Glad we finally managed to get on stream. Thanks everyone for popping by. Hope you've enjoyed it too. And we'll catch you in 2 weeks, hopefully. Yeah, I would like to abolish borders too. I always appreciate all of you. I'm gonna finish my gin, Martin. Don't worry. I'm just gonna go and sit out, because the heat in here, frankly, is getting to me. Yeah, it's been lovely. I'll put on the title card and then let the music play for a little bit. So, cheers.